This video is a cooking demonstration of the Mediterranean hash, an original recipe by Joseph Torres. Before touching the ingredients during cooking, you should always wash your hands to sanitize and reduce the risk of spreading foodborne illnesses via bacteria from unclean hands. This will minimize the possibility of having an outbreak of foodborne illness such as the norovirus. Once sanitized, begin the dish by adding 1 pound of 93% lean ground turkey to a large mixing bowl. Then, using a food scale, add 1.5% of the meat's weight in salt or 7 grams along with 1 gram each of black pepper, chili powder, ginger powder, paprika, cumin, garlic powder, coriander, turmeric, and ½ gram of cinnamon. Mix in the seasonings into the meat by hand until the meat starts to stick and congeal due to the salt disassociating and the chloride ions binding with myosin in the turkey, allowing for it to dissolve into a liquid phase. The meat will attain salt-solubilized myofibrillar proteins that cause meat to stick together. Now that once insoluble myosin is soluble myosin, the meat will have increased water holding capacity along with swelling, providing a higher cooking yield, meaning that the meat won't lose as much water, along with increased tenderness and juiciness with the end product. After mixing, cover in saran wrap and place in the fridge to avoid temperature abuse with the poultry and preventing bacterial growth. Next, dice a sweet potato into approximately 1-inch cubes. Add the potato to a very large mixing bowl and season with 2 servings of peanut oil along with salt, black pepper, chili powder, ginger, paprika, garlic, cinnamon, turmeric, and coriander. Then toss the potatoes in the bowl until the seasoning is mixed well and the potatoes are evenly coated. Once the potatoes are seasoned, get back to the cutting board and dice a white onion. After dicing, preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Lining a baking sheet with aluminum foil, disperse the seasoned potatoes into a single layer, utilizing the whole surface area of the baking sheet. Over medium-high heat, spray vegetable oil onto a 12-inch nonstick pan and allow the pan to get hot. While the pan is heating, add 2 cups of jasmine rice with 3 cups of water into a rice cooker along with 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of turmeric. Mix well so that the turmeric and salt dissolve in the water and turn the rice cooker on. Now that the pan is hot, add the meat and stir frequently so it does not burn. When the oven is up to temperature, place the potatoes on the bottom rack. When cooking the meat, try to break into small pieces and turn the pink sides down onto the face of the pan. This will cook the meat via conduction as the heat surface of the pan is transferring heat through direct contact. After about 4.5 minutes of cooking, add the diced onions to the pan and stir into the meat. Because we are using very lean meat, water content in the pan is important, and by adding onions, this will prevent the meat from drying out as the water inside the vacuoles of the onion cells, along with the water in the cell walls, leak due to the breakdown of the chemical structures from increased temperatures. This effect of the heat will slowly turn the onions translucent, and this will be your cue that the onions are cooked through. Continue to constantly stir the meat and onions to prevent burning every 15 to 20 seconds. As the onions start to turn, open a can of diced tomatoes, and on a second burner, place a pound of frozen spinach into a large cooking pot along with ½ cup of water. Once the water in the pot begins to steam, season with chili powder, garlic, ginger, black pepper, lemon juice, and salt. Give the spinach a stir to evenly coat with the seasoning, and place the burner on low heat and stir about every 30 seconds. Once the onions are translucent and the meat has developed a nice brown outer crust, add the diced tomatoes along with lemon juice to help slow down the cooking of the proteins in the food. The addition of the can's contents will provide more water to the pan, which will take away from the surface heat as the water absorbs most of the heat quickly. To prevent the pan from cooling down too much, place a pan cover on top with the edge cracked to allow steam to escape. The goal in cooking the pan's contents now is to evaporate as much water as possible so the flavor of the reduced liquid intensifies. You should stir the pan every 30 seconds and make sure the liquid is lightly bubbling on a simmer. Once the potatoes have been cooking in the oven for 12 minutes, take them out and flip them to prevent burning on the undersides of the cubes. Then place them back in the oven for another 12 minutes. Once the rice is done cooking, there should be no water left and the rice should look fluffy. Stir the rice and make sure the rice at the bottom of the pot is stirred so that it doesn't stick and burn on the bottom. The spinach should now be done and be a dark green with no water left. Add the cooked spinach to the pan with the meat and stir in to mix for homogeneity. At this point, the tomatoes should no longer be firm and are softened. Put the burner on low heat and leave the pan uncovered, letting the remaining liquid simmer more. Stir every 30 to 45 seconds. Once the potatoes have cooked in the oven for another 12 minutes, totaling 24 minutes of cooking time, take them out and flip the potatoes and allow for them to cool. After cooling, taste and season with more table salt to preference. Once the pan with meat no longer has much liquid, it is ready to be served. Combine the rice, kofta hash, and sweet potatoes in a bowl and enjoy.